Well, Mariam Wardak is the founder of Her Afghanistan, an organisation dedicated to the advancement of young Afghan women. She joins us live now from Washington. Ms. Wardak, thank you very much for being with us. We're familiar with the traditional narrative of the Taliban towards women. Has that changed in recent months?
I think so, but everything in regards to the Taliban narrative should be taken with caution. I think that this change of narrative had to do with the influence of tribal elders in provinces asking and demanding for certain continuations. For instance, there are certain provinces that the elders wanted their young daughters to continue their education. So they pressed on that towards the Taliban. But then there's also a disconnect. You have a disconnect between the Taliban political party that's in Doha, and then there's a disconnect between their commanders, military commanders. For instance, in Wardak, there was a case that there was a constant change in the Taliban commander. One Taliban commander would be okay with young girls attending school, but the next one would not. So it's a very personalized approach. And the most important aspect of it is how the tribal community is approaching this.
We have seen civilians standing up against the Taliban. That's included women in some situations. What role can women play in fighting back?
I think the most important role is to inform our young girls, especially on the religion aspect. The narrative that the Taliban have continued to use to fight foreign, in their terms, invaders is religion. Now that the foreign troops have left Afghanistan, that narrative cannot be held anymore. And the fact that they've allowed the girls to continue or shared their opinions on allowing girls to continue education, I think the young girls need to be advanced on religious arguments, holding theological arguments on how to advance. Religion is the key of opportunities for young girls, and in the religion of Islam, there are many opportunities. The confusion in Afghanistan is religion versus culture. If you advance within culture, then there's religion that are if you advance within religion, then the culture works against you. And I think women face many problems in that aspect. One thing that I do see across the board now is the resistance for the Taliban because of the fear that they're spreading. And it's quite strange because if you see insurgent groups in other countries, Indonesia or other places, and historically, they've worked with civilians to gain their trust and to gain their compassion in one way or another. But the Taliban are wishing, the military commanders are wishing to spread fear. I think that's going to work in their disadvantage because the population of the 1990s when the Taliban first emerged is not the same population. The young people are educated, have economic autonomy, have seen freedom to a certain extent in the past 20 years. And I think that there needs to be a proper form of negotiation. And that negotiation is mainly led with the political leaders, but there seems to be a disconnect in my perspective between the Taliban military leaders and their political leaders.
OK, Mariam Wardak, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.